Welcome back to Football Coach, episode 34. Our development for the year has been mostly good. We do have some high end, and we've got plenty of upper and mid 80s now on the roster. So Hurley is our best guy, going from an 84 to an 89. Also going to an 89 is another D lineman, two 89s at D line. These guys are going to be so incredibly difficult for offensive lines to stop, especially when our third best player is also on the D line. So these three guys are going to be incredible as a trio, especially if they can stay healthy. And only two seniors. We do have a junior in the bunch. We also have a cornerback at an 86. So our top four players overall are all on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's what's going to keep us in games this season, because otherwise we could be facing some difficulties. Now, we're breaking it down by gain. Two guys getting a +8 and two +7s and a good number of +6s before you get into a large number of +5s and 4s is great and all. But not only do we have a fairly large number of only +1s this season. Very disappointing. We haven't seen that really since year one, year two. But we also have a -1. we've had a 0 before a few times. We've never had a negative. It's our first ever negative. Red shirt freshman kicker, the first and only 1-star recruit that I have ever brought in, with potential, yet not realizing that at all. Weight, speed, and evasion are the only things going up. 3 of his 4 kicking abilities, as I already looked at it, went down. The 2 big worries for the season, and really they're the only worries for the season, because that kicker, we can cut him at the end of the year. I almost cut him at the beginning of the year, but I'm definitely going to cut him now, as we do have a freshman who came in who is so much better to back up our 2 now redshirt junior kickers, with the kicker and the punter combo, being that we now have somebody who can absolutely take over for them when they graduate. I'm not worried about this guy, especially considering he went backwards. He started about 5 points lower than kickers normally start, but had potential. But if he's not going to realize that potential, especially if he's going to go the wrong way, no thank you. He's gone. This is the biggest problem, though, is quarterback. I mean, we're down to 3 guys, a redshirt sophomore being the oldest, and a 74. At least that's decent potential or progression, and we will make further progress with him. His accuracy went +11, evasion +8. I mean, those are good. We will train at least our 2 primaries here, if not all 3, probably all 3. Though Salas, I don't know. Salas is only a 71 and just dropped to a B in potential, so maybe we'll do Sewell and Maharis, as he's got really good potential, though only a 63. That's so low for a quarterback. I probably won't bother with him either, just because of how low they are. Sewell, yes, he's got to start for the year. We're going to be in that transfer market still looking for next year, but we need more out of Sewell. Now, this is far from the worst quarterback that we've had. We've had lower than this 3 to 4 occasions out of 10 years. And he's not done yet, right? We're going to get that training. Oh, fingers crossed we get a breakthrough. We might have to train him more than once just to help get by, because we need to keep on winning this season. We can't have an 0-12 kind of year. And a quarterback like that makes me nervous that we could be in for an 0-12 kind of year. But we're good at running back. I mean, we've got, let's get back to the overall part. We've got an 81, 78, 78 for our top 3 guys. And that's all you need, as long as, nobody gets injured. Wide receiver, for the first time in quite a few years, 4 or 5 years, since we haven't had an 80+ leading the line. But we got a 79, 78, 77. We're still pretty good and young. There's only 1 senior at all, and there's only 2 juniors out of the entire receiving core. So we're younger right now. This is going to be a bit of a rebuilding year just based on those 2 positions taking a step back. We're going to be good everywhere else, though. I mean, tight end's fine. Offensive line, 3 guys 80+ plus a 79. So 4 key guys. Then a huge drop-off, though. Really, really big drop-off. And 3 seniors in that 80+. Zane Bond is going to help lead us going forward. But, yeah, actually, offensive line's a little bit of a concern as well. this year. So offense could struggle to score points. Defense, others will struggle to score points. We're up to a 79-78 at kicker and a 77 for the new freshman. D-line, so dangerous, but then a 72 behind them. Yikes on that part. Linebacker, 3 guys of definite quality. Corner, 4 guys of definite quality. And safety. Safety has more depth, a little bit less top end. I mean, 6 guys that can absolutely play with a 74 plus anyway, and 77s being 4 guys plus. Good year for the defense, off year for the offense, except at running back. Still not anywhere near as bad as we've had in some previous years, but it does make me nervous that we're going to be able to get our couple of wins. I think we should be able to get our couple wins, though. The calendar's looking a little bit easier this year. Lots of road games, though. I think we can squeeze out 2 wins, but I don't think we're going to be having a great year. Hopefully we crack the top 70, so at least the prestige can take, a little bit of a jump. We'll be retooling the offense towards the next year. Spring session, and only 3 out of 6 have had a breakthrough, including a miss on Sewell. Only getting a +2 to speed, and added to the difficulties, and I anticipate that our percentages are going to be a bit lower than past seasons. Remember, we did replace the offensive coordinator. A lot of what came from that was good things. We're back at least at the same level we were last season, even though we had just leveled up our offensive coordinator. So we're still at a 6 on the bonus. The defensive bonus is now a 7, so we're there. But we were a 7-6, we're now a 6-7, and that is because we dropped a point on matching schemes, as we are now moving into a pass-first category. We're kind of in the right setup to actually replace the head coach if this season doesn't go great, so that we can match the spread offense and the pass-first mentality and try to get some additional bonuses out there. And it's not hard to find coaches better than the ones that we had, even though we have made some progress with them leveling up. But anyway, Sewell and a lack of offensive coordinator to have much of a chance at a breakthrough. Yeah, low odds on the offensive coordinator stuff. And so we settled for something that he was lacking big time, which was pace. Yeah, no breakthrough, where we did have good odds. And really the only good one was a ball carrier vision +6 to a true freshman running back. Week 2 saw only 2 breakthroughs happen, and both of them only gained a +3. And I didn't even think this was possible, but we trained Sewell a second time, and he gained quarterback IQ +1. So our minimum is a +2, and yet somehow we still only managed to get a +1. So there's that. Every season, I get at least one comment recommending that I utilize the recommended targets that the team provides. Here's why that just doesn't work most of the time. And I do use it. Week 1, spring, these guys are at 25%, right? All they have to do is be on the list for a week without speaking to them or anything, and we'll get into that 30% range. But you can see from this list, we've got a single B- at tight end. We've got a B at wide receiver and a B- at D-line. There's a B- for linebacker. But the guys that are interested in coming to school, which is kind of the primary basis for the makings of this list, they're garbage. They are the worst of the worst. Why? Because we're a 1 prestige school. Who wants to go to our school? Somebody who can't get in anywhere else is the one that wants to go to our school, which is why the unrecruited guys are available. But the ones that actually want it, not just will accept it, but they want to be here, they don't have a valid reason for it. So it makes perfect sense in my mind that most of these targets are really bad. We're already down into that 2-star range, but we do have guys here that are okay in terms of they want to be here, and we'll give them a shot to get that 5% up, but I'm not going to waste too many slots on that grouping. We're going to be looking ahead to new. I had 13 quarterbacks. We're already down to 4 on the list. Offensive line is going to be a early concern for me, as it's always one of those difficult to fill positions. So I think we'll focus on offensive line from here. Best week yet with 4 breakthroughs this time around, more on par with our normal-ish kind of numbers. Cale Elliott, the massive redshirt sophomore quarterback, he's now an 84 overall with his defensive IQ getting a +4. We get +3 strength to Zane Bond, the redshirt sophomore offensive lineman, breaking into the 80s with that progression. Tony Smith, another young cornerback, getting defensive IQ +5 and +3 strength on the redshirt freshman offensive lineman. The offensive guys, besides the linemen, though, really not doing much. Really not doing much. And again, part of that's coming down to we had a 50-50 shot. Should have got one of the two based on the odds, but didn't get either one of them. But yeah, the offensive trainings are going quite poorly. And the offense is where we need it more at the moment. Even though it was only 3 out of the 6 and ultimately making a 50%, we got 12 out of 24, equal on our lowest year that we've ever had in breakthroughs. Offensive coordinators was part of that, right? We had a much lower rate with him, but that's got to be only responsible for about 2, maybe 3 of those in that 12. So with our old offensive coordinator, maybe it would have been 14 or 15, which is still a bad year. So we had a bad turnout. But this was a good week on the breakthroughs. +7 tackling to our redshirt sophomore, 79 overall safety, a +7 on quarterback IQ with a 20% chance. We did get the big breakthrough there for Lucas Sewell. Now jumps to a 76 from a 74. That's going to make him a lot more effective this season. We really went after it because we desperately need him to be able to perform. I hate that I had to waste 3 trainings on one player just to finally get a breakthrough, but it did finally come. And yeah, it definitely helped him. He's got an 84 arm strength and 84 arm accuracy. He's not going to be bad in that department. His decision making was where you really worried. Now with a +1 and +7, so a +8 overall to that gets him from a 68 to a 76, which is a manageable number. But he lacks speed or evasion or ball carrier vision. He's very much a pocket quarterback who's mid on decision making. +4 tackling to a true freshman quarterback as well. That's a future one. The other guys, the other 4, all should be regular features. We did go after our kickers, though, and Burton might actually even feature this year. Maybe. We got 2 79s ahead of him, redshirt juniors, and he is so close. He's going to... We'll end up redshirting him, I'm sure, but he is so close to the starting lineup. His big thing is he's got power. He just lacks the accuracy. Season expectations, of course, is to win 2 games. We have an impossible task here with win 4 games in a row. What else could we potentially do here? We have the coach integrity, of course, to spend, but have at least 3 opponents, hold at least 3 opponents to 275 passing yards or fewer. I think that's something we could achieve. Beat Arizona State, Arizona, and Kansas this year with our offense. Not likely, but I think we could take this one. And yeah, it's going to cost me 3 coach integrity, but it gives us a real shot at getting $2.25 million for the year. Meanwhile, we're fine here. Have 9+ takeaways. I think our defense is going to manage that. We have 2 more years until we can roll for a new donor and have a chance to get away from that bronze donor. But that's it for the negotiations this year. And as for the roster, we knew the offense was going to struggle a bit, but a 78 is still better than most years. And a 78 is a year that we've had 1 to 2 wins each time that we've been in that area. But meanwhile, our defensive talent is quite good this year with an 81. I'm actually surprised that it's not a higher rating, but it's our zone coverage holding us back a little bit with an 84 across the board. Everywhere else defensively, you would think we should be closer towards that number. With this number offsetting it a little bit, you would think 82 or 83, not an 81. We've got to be incredibly close to that 82. As for the offense, though, the rushing and run blocking are where it's at. The funny thing is this is the very first year that our playbook is going to head the other direction, away from slight run heavy to slight pass heavy, when we're going to struggle to pass the ball. Yeah, roster breakdown, only 180 plus in the impact players for offense, but defense is loaded with high-end 80 guys with a corner and 3 D linemen. They are going to be so difficult to shut down. But starters by class, 41% are seniors, so a little bit senior heavy. But the class breakdown is 15% seniors, just 13 of them, 17 juniors, 19 sophomores, and 36 freshmen, which of course is 18 and 18 if you divide that evenly. So it's pretty on par with other 3 classes, with just that little bit less going on at seniors. But a lot of that comes down to guys that transfer away eventually heading into that senior year. So Sewell at quarterback, 76. That could have gone a lot worse than it did. Like, 76 is not a terrible rating, and he's only a sophomore. And he will continue to get better, and now that he's already a starter, we know he's going to stick around with us. That's somebody who could easily be that 86 overall senior for us in a couple of years. It's just going to be a little bit of a down year. Running back is good this year with 2 guys at 81 and 78, but then Norman, right, the incredible recruit that we got, red shirt freshman, and he's right into the mix. 3 guys that are incredible, and he is going to be 4 years in the mix. He'll be the main guy by next year. Wide receiver, decent year for us. It's not a bad year at wide receiver, but we've gotten so used to having 2 to 3 guys in the 80 plus range that it looks a little awkward. But it's only 1 senior, and we've got 3 sophomores that are in the mid to upper 70s, and we've got some freshmen that are already into the 70s. So they'll be okay this year. They'll be better next year. Tight ends, fine. Offensive line, it's been tough to recruit the last few years, and it's really starting to show. Yes, Bond has really developed well, and he's going to be fantastic. It's going to be harder to keep him out of the draft in a year or 2, but 3 of the 4 80s being seniors is a little bit of a concern. There's a lot of youth in our offensive line, but they'll be fine this year. I'm a little nervous about next year, actually. Kicker, good and getting better, especially with the addition of Burton. D-line is phenomenal. Next year is going to be a little bit down from this year, but it's still going to be very good. And then we're looking at linebackers that are definitely good, corners that are great, and we're graduating only our 3rd string guy, so he's starter, yes, but he's going to be easily replaced next year. We'll get bigger and stronger. And safety likewise looks pretty good for years to come. So D-line, very, very encouraging, and they should have a good year. Offense, a little bit of a down year, but not a terrible year. I think this team should be capable of getting a couple of wins. Now they have to just live up to that expectation. They're going to open with Tulsa and Oregon State, though. They better come out 1-1 at the very least. Let's take a look at the calendar in reverse, starting at the end of the season with a number 3 USC team who is incredible. Colorado in 81-79 is pretty dang manageable, and we're 78, 81? I mean, we're right on par with that, but we are on the road. And then Utah, yeah, they're a little bit too good, but Rutgers, that's a winnable game, but it's on the road. Arizona, 81-79, that's relatively winnable. I mean, you'd figure you'd get at least one of those 3 road games, potentially. Hawaii, it's on the road, but it's 78-79. Like, we should be beating that team. Oregon's going to be way too tough. UCLA is going to be way too tough. But Kansas, that should be a beatable team. 79-80. Arizona State 84-81. Okay, they're going to be good. Oregon State 81-78. Pretty similar to us, but flipped. And one of our only home games of the season. Tulsa on the road 80-70. We're just slightly ahead, but again, it's flipped. Their defense is a 77. Our offense is a 78. Our offense, well, we're on the road, so they're going to get a little bit of an advantage. That's about even. And then their offense is an 80, and our defense is almost an 82. We should just about have an edge, but again, we're going to be on the road. Plenty of opportunities to get the 2 victories. Nothing's assured, though. Nothing. Especially because most of the winnable games are on the road. And the one pretty winnable home game is Oregon State. And that's one of the better teams that we're actually going to go up against this season. Somewhere around the 7th or 8th best. But of the ones you would expect to have a legitimate shot at, Colorado's not great. It's really just Arizona State that looks quite good. Looks close to being a ranked opponent. And then there are 4 ranked opponents. So if 7 games are winnable, but none of them being a lock this year, you figure we should be able to get 2 out of 7, right? We should be able to get 2. We might even still get 3 wins this year. Oh, we crushed Tulsa. It's 24-3 to open the season. Our defense is going to be so good this year. 3 points allowed. We've only held a team below 20 once. And that was this score plus 2 touchdowns. 24-3. Holy crap. Okay, so rushing yards, 126. Rushing attempts, 21. Alessia looking good on the ground, like doing what we need to do. But the game stat record update. Opponent points, 3. Opponent yards, 190. Opponent rushing yards, 55. And defensive talent, that's the best our defense has ever been. Ever in terms of talent and ever in terms of performance. We opened the season with that very first win. We've got to get that second, right? With the defense this good, that second is coming. It's only going to be a matter of time. It's non-conference. It doesn't count towards the divisional standings, but holy cow, only us and USC have claimed victories in our division. That's a wild, wild start. And 3 opponent turnovers. We just need 9 to get $750,000 for the year. And hold 3 opponents to 275 passing yards or fewer, and we've already met that first condition. So we are well on our way to an extra $2.25 million in payout this year, and we're well on our way to 2 wins for this year. That's going to be it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.